Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is another Fun Fold Friday and I have what's called a sliding lock card, and I did one of these not too long ago, and I will put the link to that video tutorial in the description below. But this one has a bit of a different take on it. And I saw this done by two demonstrators just this week actually, and I thought I would share it with you. So how it works basically is you have this focal point down here that you move along, and then you can open up the card like this. Okay, so you've got this gizmo on the back to actually create this locking slider here. And the key element that you need for this card, a key tool actually, is our classic label punch. This punch comes in extremely handy if you want to make gift card holders, because this helps to make the slot for the gift card to put in. So this to me is what I call an essential tool, the classic label punch, and it's available in our annual catalog. All right, so this, in case you're wanting to know, this card was made using a beautiful set called Whale Done, and it comes with a coordinating punch to be able to punch out this beautiful whale and to create a dimensional look with his fin here. And then it also has these absolutely gorgeous papers in here. I'll just flip through a few papers so that you can see how these look. I mean, look at this one. Isn't it beautiful? All the turtles swimming along. So it's got some beautiful papers in here. So if you like ocean, and the punch actually punches out these whales. So if you like ocean themed cards, and we live on the west coast of Canada, so there you go. It's perfect. Then this is just gorgeous papers. Okay. And then the backs are usually just simple patterns on the backs. Okay, so look at this. Lots of schools of fish and underground, undersea, what do you call it? Undersea gardens, I guess you could call it. Ocean waves. Lots of different plant life. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful paper. So that is called Whale Done, and you can find that in our annual catalog. Okay, that's one of the suites that we have. So there's lots of coordinating products that go along with that. Okay, but for today's card, I decided to, excuse me, I decided to bring out this stamp set, Birds and Branches. This was carried over last year, and I suspect it may retire come the new annual catalog this year. But I love birds, and so every stamp set that has birds in it, I purchase. And I love this one. I've made quite a few cards with this, the latest one being this one, which is really a cute fun fold. And I think I will do this one next Friday for you. It's a stand-up card, so it stands up. And so it makes a nice display card. And on the back, this is where you can actually, you know, write your sentiment. And it folds flat for mailing, but it has this little pop-out wall with the birds on there. I thought that was really cute. And of course, this would work for any number of different stamp sets and colors. Okay, so that's the Birds and Branches here. And it comes with a set of dies. Lots of different dies. I absolutely love this circular die here. There's, you can stamp the birds, and it's 2 times stamping. So you stamp the background of the bird and then the front image. And then it's got different kinds of feet depending on which branch you use. It's got a beautiful little nest with some eggs and some leaves for the trees, branches. It's just a great little set. And so what I did was I'm not sure which birds I'm going to use, but I went ahead and cut out these little birds. So there's 2 birds that go in 2 different directions like that. So this would be a fun wedding card or an anniversary card. And then I love this stem. So I cut this stem out of some vellum and some smoky slate cardstock to use on my card. Okay, so a great little stamp set. If you're into birds, it's a great one for birds. All right, so I've also mounted one of the birds on here. I might stamp this on the inside of my card, but let's get started with showing you how this card works. So, all right, so the first thing we're going to start with is a piece of cardstock, and this measures 5.5 by 10.5 inches. And we're going to do 2 score lines on here. So I'm going to bring out my trimmer here. It works best on the trimmer because the scoreboard has specifically measured tracks, and so you can't really, you know, be flexible. See here, I want to go to 4.25 inches, and I want to back it up a bit. And you can't back up things on the scoreboard, so the trimmer is what you will need for this. And you need a trimmer that has a score blade. So of course our Stampin' Up! Trimmer has both a cutting blade and a scoring blade. So I'm going to go to 4.25 here, 4.25, and then I'm just going to back it up like a hair. I'm not kidding you. It's not even a 1/16 of an inch. It's just a hair. And the reason for this is so that this folds over without getting caught up on this edge here. See, if you do this exactly at 4.25, it will not fold, and this part will buckle. So that's why you want to back it up a bit, okay? So just a hair, and we're going to score that. Okay, and then the next score line we need is at 8.5. So I need to open up my ruler here, and we're going to go to 8.5. 8.5, and you can go right on the 8.5 now. Okay, so 8.5, and we're going to score that as well. So this 8.5 piece is this little flap here. Okay, so that's all you need for that, and then you can go ahead and fold the card. So this is the little flap, and make sure the edges are lined up, which they should be if you lined it up on your trimmer. And then this one's going to fold over this way. Let's just give this a little burnish to make it lie really flat. Let's get these out of the way. Okay, so now because I backed it up, you see how it folds down nicely? If you didn't back it off that 4.25 inch, then this piece would buckle like that, you see? All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to cut an angle off this flap piece. So you are going to mark with a pencil. You're going to mark at 1 inch, okay? So I'm just going to use my grid paper because my grid paper, each of these little squares is 1/4 inch. So I'm going to line this up here, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's at 1 inch. Okay, and I'm going to be putting it back on my trimmer, and I'm going to be cutting from this mark down to that bottom corner, and then that will create this angled flap. Okay, pretty simple to do. So let's just open up, excuse me, open up that whole card, and then we're going to put the point in the track at the bottom left, and the tick mark in the track at the top. Now, one key thing to keep in mind always when you're trimming is if ever you're trimming a point, don't start trimming at that point, because sometimes the blade will catch on the point and then wrinkle up your card stock. So you want to always go from a straight edge. So I have a straight edge up here. So I'm going to hold that tightly, and I'm just going to cut down to the point. Okay, and then you're just going to get rid of that little piece. So there we've created that flap on the front. Okay. All right, the next thing we need is we need a piece of a DSP. So we need 2 pieces actually. So this piece is cut 4 by 5.25 for the front of the card. Okay, that should be far. Oh, I haven't cut it, trimmed it yet. This should be 4 by 5.25. So this I just trimmed off my 6 by 6 piece. So let's trim that to 5.25 because our card is 5.5 inches. That is actually 5.25. Okay, what's going on here? I think my card stock is not, I did not, maybe this is wider than 5.5. Oh, I cut this to 5 1/4. This should be 5 1/2. So make a note of that, ladies and gentlemen. So all my pieces are going to be a little bit too big. Yeah, this should have been cut at 5 1/2 here. So I'm missing a bit. That's okay. I'm still gonna work with it, and I'm just gonna have to trim everything down a little bit. So instead of this being 5 1/4, so this is 4 by 5 1/4. You see, I'm going to trim this to 5. That was my mistake. I was getting all of my materials ready last night. It was quite late. All right, so this will fit nicely on the card now. Okay, so the card is just 1/4 of an inch shorter than it should be. And really and truly, who's going to notice? Okay. All right, so the other piece of DSP that you want, you have to cut this at an angle. All right, so what you want to do with this piece actually measures 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. So again, I'm going to have to cut this down. I'll put the right measurements in the blog post, but this has to be cut down to 5, like that other piece. I made that one little mistake. So let's just give that a trim. Okay, so what you want to do with this now, we need to cut this down at an angle. Now, because this is 1 inch here, excuse me, we want our DSP to be 3/4 of an inch up here, okay? So what we're going to do is, you see, this will fit on the bottom quite nicely, but we need to trim the top to this bottom corner, much as we did on the flap. So I'm just going to make a tick mark 3/4 of an inch in, so 1 2 3, so make a little tick mark here. And again, I'm going to pull in my trimmer, and again, I'm going to cut from this straight edge at the top down to this bottom corner. Okay, so line the tick mark at the top, point in the track at the bottom, and come down with your cutting blade from that edge. There you go. Okay, so there's your piece of DSP for the flap, and this piece you can just throw away. That piece isn't really worth keeping. All right, so how you're going to do this, we need a flap. Let me bring in the original card. You see, we need to cut a little bit with that punch on this side, and then we're going to do a full length here. Okay, so what we will do is we're going to put in our punch in here, and you're going to put your paper in until it can't go down any further in here. And then we are going to, I'm only leaving about 1/2 inch on the side there. And then I'm going to punch this like that. Okay. And then when I put my designer series paper on top, I'll be able to see the hole through the back and then re-punch it. The next thing I want to do is I want to punch over onto this side. So to know where exactly to punch this, I'm just going to put in another pencil mark here. Where's my pencil? So see this point here? Just make a mark on there like that, because you want to know how far to put your punch. So again, the punch is going to go right up as far as it will go, but you need to line up. I hope you can see that. Let me pull my light over a bit more. Can you see the pencil mark in there? You're going to line this up to the pencil mark. Okay, just like that, and then punch. So now those two pieces should line up quite nicely. There we go. Okay. All right. So what we can do now is we can put on our designer series paper. So we don't want glue on the paper, you know, so that the paper, you know, you don't want glue here is what I'm trying to say to you. I will just put a little bit of glue around the edges on the actual cardstock, I think. So I'm going to get out my Tombow for this. So I'm just going to put just a little bit like this. Come on, glue. Here we go. So I'm not going very close to the edge here because I don't want that to seep out. And then I'm going to position this on here. And the key thing is to make sure that your edge is straight on the right-hand side. And I like using Tombow because I can move it around a little bit. Okay, so there we've got that on there. You see, and I didn't get any glue on this bit here. Okay, and once that's glued down, now I can just come back in with my punch and I can see exactly where I need to cut that out again. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing for this paper here. So again, I'm just going to put glue around the edges. I'm bringing it in a little bit more than the DSP will be. Like that. And then this has a directional pattern. So let's make sure I get that on right. There we go. So once we have that on there, we have to punch again. So again, you see, you can see right through it. So we will line this up exactly where the original hole is and punch. Okay. So I hope that made sense to you. Okay, and then your locking mechanism is going to slide between those two like that. Okay, now for the locking mechanism, I did an oval on this. This was a sample from another demonstrator. I think, yeah, her name is Julie Davison. And I've decided I don't really care for the oval because it kind of moves around a lot. So I'm going to use a circle this time, which is actually what the other demonstrator did. So I need a circle for the back. So this becomes the mechanism on the back. And you need this circle, whatever circle you choose to use, you need it to be wider than this hole. So this punch is actually the 2 1/4 inch punch. Okay, and then for this top piece, I'm going to use the 2 inch punch to create a pattern on here. This card I used my scalloped edges, and this card I'm just using my 2 punches here. Okay, so that's going to be one mechanism, and then this is going to be for that top piece. And then you also need a piece of basic white for the inside of your card. Again, I have to trim this one down. All my measurements were off. So let's just give this a trim, again to 5. Okay, lesson learned. Don't prep your materials late at night. I guess I was a little tired last night. Wasn't paying attention. Okay, so that we need that for inside. And we'll do a little bit of stamping on the inside too. And then when I cut the cut my paper down, I ended up with this little strip that I can actually put on the bottom of my card here. I often keep these little strips and then use them for decorating the inside of my cards. Okay, now all these pieces we can get rid of. Okay. So now we have to decide about decorating the card, what I want to do for it. So I might decorate once I've got this piece, you know, established. So let's hang on to that. Now let's get out my 2 inch punch here. And I'm going to cut another piece of Whisper White, or no, I'll never stop calling it Whisper White. Whisper White's retired, and now we have what's called Basic White. That's a hard transition for me to make, as I'm sure a lot of demonstrators are struggling with that, because we had Whisper White for so long. Excuse me. All right, so these are going to be mounted like this, and you could also, you know, straddle a greeting along here as well if you wanted to, and I'm just trying to decide what I want to do. I wanted to put a couple of birds up in this branch here, maybe like that. I've got this little pearl sitting here from another project, and I might do a little bird on here. Yeah, I might stamp the little branch on here. So let's get the branch out, just this little branch. This is kind of a monochromatic card, so I'm going to do the branch in the gray as well. Actually, maybe I'll do it in a darker gray, because I'm going to use that gray little bird. Let's do a darker gray here. So let's put the branch on a block. Oh, there's my other branch. I don't know how it got over there. Okay. Put this little branch on here. There we go. So this little bird's going to sit on this branch here. So I think I can go ahead and glue him on. I just need to get my tombow started. And then I can just dab it on. Okay. I just love these little cutout birds. They are so cute. Okay, and then I'm going to glue him on here. So let's put a bit more glue on here. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is I'm going to put this, straddle this over the back, and I want to hold it into place with a little sticky note or a little post-it note. Okay, just going to hold that into place like that, because this, it doesn't get glued to the back of the card. This has to be able to slide back and forth, but you need to position it in order to make the mechanism. Okay, now the next thing you do is you're going to take some dimensionals. Now our dimensionals should fit right in that slot. Okay, so make sure you get those straight edges on there. Yeah, that should work. I'm hoping that works. Okay, and I think I can put 2 in here. And then take the backings off. Okay. Yep, that's going to work. It's a tight fit, but I think it's going to work. And then we're going to mount this on here. So this is going to come across like that, you see. So we'll put our bird on here. So now when I take the Post-it note off, hopefully this slides. There you go. See how it slides? Okay, so then you close your card and then you slide it over. Look, and you want to position it so you don't see that point maybe. Look how cute that is. Is that not just the cutest thing? So once you know the mechanics of how it works, look how sweet that is. Okay, so now I can concentrate on decorating the front of the card. So I might put this on here. I like the vellum look, and I'm going to layer the gray piece on top. Like that. Okay, so now we don't have what's called vellum tape. You can purchase vellum tape from the dollar store, and I actually have vellum tape because if you use our tape or our glue, it can show through. It may not show through that badly though because we're putting this on the top, but I do happen to have vellum tape, so I'm just going to use it because I have it. And so I'm going to take this and I'm just going to put a bit of vellum tape on just a few spots. Okay. Let's pull this back in. Okay. And then we could use glue for this bit. So let's just do a bit of glue. And we'll just lay this over this piece here. I'm just going to grab a piece of cardstock and I'm just going to press this over this just so I can glue it down. Okay, so that's that done. And now I can put on my little birds. So we'll do one bird up here, I think, and one little bird over here, like that. That's too much glue. Stick him right here, like that. And then we've got this little bird. I like that they're facing in different directions. That's kind of cool. Okay. So an alternate to making a design on here is you could actually just put a greeting on that. Okay. So there's my card. And then I can slide that. Oh, actually it's getting in the way of this. Okay. Just have to be a bit more gentle with that. make sure it slides over that piece. There we go. Okay, so then we can open up the card and decide what we're going to do on the inside. Okay, so I've got this panel, and I might stamp, I might put this in at the bottom just because I have it and I don't really want to waste it. What happened to my glue runner? It's here somewhere. Oh, here it is, right on top. All right, so let's take this off and glue this on the bottom. There we go. Now you have to decide if you want a greeting on here. This would make a very sweet birthday card, I think. I have a friend who loves birds like I do, so I could make this for her. So I didn't pull out a birthday greeting with my stamp sets here, and I like to stamp before I, oh actually I have this stamp set right here. I was going to make some cards with this. Birthdays are the best days. Yeah, I'm going to stamp that on the inside. That was lucky. I've used this stamp a lot. This is one of my favorite stamp sets from our annual catalog called Beautiful Friendship. It's got some beautiful greetings on there. And I think I'm going to do this in this gorgeous Misty Moonlight. I love this color. All the cardstock and the DSP has this Misty Moonlight. I really love it. Okay, so I'm going to line this up as best I can. Birthdays are the best days. Look at that. Very, very pretty. So I think that's our card for today. So let's open that up. Put this on the inside. I quite like these sliding lock cards. I'm pretty sure I did a video on a sliding lock card. It was either a Facebook Live or it was a Facebook video. Or a YouTube video, sorry. But I will find it and put a link in there. There you go. So there is our sliding lock, our angled sliding lock card. So for those of you who like an advanced fun fold, I think that's advanced, and yet it's pretty simple to make, I think. As long as you pay attention to some of the little tips I've given you, you should be good to go. Fun card. And again, I think the circle at the back worked better than the oval. There you go. So thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. As I said, a link to the blog post will be there with pictures and all of the measurements. And that's it. And then next week I will come and I will do this card. I think I'll do the birds again just to show you how to make this, because it's just a really cute little card. So thanks everyone for watching, and have a wonderful week. Bye for now.